I want to reiterate how important it is for businesses that are on a winter tariff and on a time of use to do everything they can not to consume significant amounts of power from the grid during peak times. Eskom increases were effective the 1st of April, and the municipalities, their increases are effective 1st of July 2025. Hi, I'm Eric from Alpha Power Solutions, and today I want to share some more information with you regarding the tariff increases that have been implemented and will be implemented in 2025 in South Africa. There's a difference between businesses that are being supplied and built for directly by Eskom and then entities that are built by municipalities. So it's been in the news. On average, the tariff increase approved by NERSA for Eskom to implement effective on the 1st of April 2025 is approximately or just below 13%. It's important to note that this is an average increase across many tariffs and sub-tariffs, as well as individual charges within these sub-tariffs. It's rather complicated for the uninitiated. It's going to have a different impact depending on the type of tariff the end users are on and whether or not they get their electricity supplied by, or at least billed by Eskom or by the municipality. For some Eskom customers, the electricity cost increases will be substantial. For others, they will be less affected, and there might even be a few that have reduced electricity tariffs. The increases of municipal or entities supplied by municipalities, those increases will only come into effect on the 1st of July. What that increase will be, typically municipalities are extremely poor at communicating, so we'll probably know in early July what the increases are, but they're likely to be around 12-13% on average. So these increases will then come into effect on the 1st of July. So just to recap, Eskom increases were effective the 1st of April, and the municipalities, their increases are effective 1st of July 2025. So again, we have to differentiate between Eskom supplied customers and municipalities, as if you follow the sequence. So Eskom implemented the tariffs on the 1st of April. That means that the customers will see their first revised bill in early May, sorry. So the April consumption and demand of electricity is then billed in June, so they'll feel it in June. Then in July, they will feel another increase when the winter tariffs come into play. So there will be a jump in May, then there will be another jump in July when the customers receive their June bill. August will be the same, and then in September, there will be a reduction in the electricity cost because we go then back into the summer tariffs. So the bill that the Eskom clients get in October will be slightly less. But for entities that's supplied by municipalities, they will first feel an increase in June. That means the bill that they will receive in July, because the winter tariff comes into play. Then in August and September, they will get bills that are not only increased for the winter tariff, but also for the municipal increase. So there will be a significant jump in the bill that they will receive in July and August. And then in September, just like the Eskom clients, the electricity bills will drop a little bit as we go back into summer tariff. Yeah, this is the complication, in winter months in South Africa, is that there's huge variations in electricity costs, and it's important for businesses to prepare for this. The municipalities don't generate any power, or hardly any power. There is some municipalities that do generate power, but let's not go in too much detail. But most of the municipalities buy electricity from Eskom and then resell them at highly inflated margins. That's not the same margin across the board, but there is particular municipalities that are applying, markups of at least 300% on, what they buy the electricity from Eskom for to what they charge the end user. There's some municipalities where it's up to 300%. So it's significant. It's a money making thing for the municipalities, that their money that they use to cross subsidize other cost centers that they have. But yeah, so what happens is that the municipalities get charged a higher tariff effective on the 1st of April. Then they supposedly carry that cost increase for a few months until they can apply their increases to their end user. The reason for that time lapse is that, once the Eskom increases have come into play, the municipalities need to start negotiating with NERSA about the tariff increases that they are allowed to apply. And that takes a few months. They're usually highly disorganized, so these negotiations drag on, and then when everybody wakes up that the 1st of July is not here, then it's a mad rush to get these tariffs finalized and implemented. So during the month of July. So that's why there's this time lapse in between the two increased dates. So obviously, the more electricity an entity uses, the more they will be affected, by these increases. There's also, the fact whether or not they can reduce their power usage during winter months, because some of the tariffs, especially the peak tariffs during winter months, are exorbitantly expensive. So businesses really need to try to move away or try to move their production outside peak times. It's easier said than done. It's not always possible, but it is something that they have to consider, if at all possible. So the more electricity they use, the more they will be affected. And also, I need to requalify this. The more energy they draw from the grid, then obviously the more they will be affected. If they have a solar system, can reduce that impact. If they have batteries, they can reduce that even more. They can also do other things, with energy being so expensive during winter months. They might want to consider running a generator parallel with Eskom to shave off the amount of power drawn from the grid during peak hours. So there's a number of things that can be done. Any opportunity needs to be properly researched and a proper business case developed so that it makes sense. But what we must realize is that, the cost of renewable energy is coming down every year. That might be tempered with the devaluation of the rand, but I'll leave that outside. So we come to a point where alternative energy sources are cheaper than Eskom or the Eskom supplied power. And obviously, as the tariffs of Eskom increase, as they've been doing since 2008, it becomes easier and easier to justify a business case where you move away from Eskom as far as possible and generate your own power. Eskom, in the way it is structured now, is in a debt spiral. As its costs shoot up, it charges more. So people look for other opportunities and other technologies become cheaper and cheaper. So it's inevitable that if we carry on the path like this, that an entity like Eskom will have major issues in the not too distant future to remain viable. A lot with energy, it's got to do with common sense. If you don't use it, switch it off. If it's not working the way it should, fix it. For argument's sake, so many businesses use compressed air. When the factory is new, everything's fine, but as the time goes on, lots of leaks develop. And a lot of the air that is compressed and for which the customer obviously pays electricity is just wasted. So there's simple things, identify the leaks of your compressed air systems. If you have ablution facilities for the staff, make sure that the geysers work optimally and that you have the right type of warm water systems that are energy efficient. Switch to LED lights. There is so many things that make so much sense and are so easy to prove in terms of investment payback periods. There is so many things that businesses can do to reduce their power usage. Power factor correction is another case. If the business doesn't have power factor correction, it's an absolute must to install it. If there is a system but it's not working optimally, get it fixed, get it serviced, and then keep looking for other opportunities on renewable energy, depending on where you are, whether it's sun, whether it's wind. There's lots of opportunity. There's also peak shaving possibilities with generators and batteries. So there's a lot of experts out there that can help businesses reduce their power usage. Not all of them have an attractive investment payback period, but as long as you keep your research and you refresh your quotations and you look at the point where business case makes sense to do an investment in any technology that will reduce the amount of power that you draw or that you use. I want to reiterate how important it is for businesses that are on a winter tariff and on a time of use to do everything they can not to consume significant amounts of power from the grid during peak times. It's possible to avoid massive costs, even if it means that you might have to now change your rosters for your employees, or even if you implement Saturday work. Sunday work becomes difficult in terms of costs, or manpower costs, but Saturdays are feasible. Again, this requires negotiations with the manpower, but it is possible to have a significant impact. We know businesses that actually move during winter months, move all their production to night shift, all of it, and weekends. And it makes a significant difference in their profitability. But it took a lot of negotiations with the staff to come to an agreement where it did make sense that the additional manpower costs were more than offset by the savings in electricity costs. Well, thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, please like and subscribe, and the blog is linked in the description below.